player in two, and while they're trying to block one, the other one hits them, and vice versa. This is what's happening with Uranus and Saturn relative to energy projection and cashing all D checks right now on the planet. So look at that from a metaphorical point of view, then look at the physicality and the manifestation of the civic activity that's taking place in the political platform. So sit back and watch the movie.
John Winbay says, what are your thoughts on North America having two countries, Canada and the United States? We have more than two.
Let's say this. When you really know what's going on, the United States is not a country. Never was. That's number one. From a political jurisdiction point of view, Canada, the corporation, and the U.S. corporation are actually one social political entity coming under the Circle Church and the Chancery, both being run by the Circle Church and Chancery and the Queen of England. Take that. See, once you're aware of things, I comprehend how people have different views based on what they've been told. But when you respect your intuitive mind and you do a little study, you see past there. That's why, when you see things for what they really are, a lot of people, get uncomfortable about that, but they're able to see that too if they want to. Most people don't want to see, and so they don't see because they don't want to see. But if you're talking about political jurisdictions, Canada and the U.S. corporation got the same international number. Take that as a key to what I'm saying to you. All of the front is a show to keep the masses busy while they get raped. Raped. Look at the word rape too while we're at it. Being preyed upon by the priesthood. That's P-R-E-Y.
Okay, question. What does Grand Sheik think about Nasera Jacera? How does it affect us as Moors?
This is part of the restoration. You can look at this as a reinitiation of some of the missionary work that was started by Abraham Lincoln, when he refused to take finance from the Pastor family, operatives, etc. That's a name that they're hiding behind. That's not who they are. Who took over the Yetta when they ran the Moors out of Iberia, which is now called Europe, and took over our wealth and our trade routes. And of course, those who know the history here at the Maghreb know that the American Constitution comes from Anasazi Confederation, i.e. Moorish tribes. When you go look up the treaties, etc., with the Anasazi, you will not see the word Indian. You'll see Moorish treaties. And of course, since they've been muddying all of that history and all of those documentations, so look back to the point of why even the Moorish Divine National Movement was set up, where Juali referred to the Moors to enforce that constitution, because as soon as you do, you'll start going into this information and of course to the treaty law, and then you start recognizing, oh, these people are frauds. Not here, on all levels. It blow your mind how much fraud you discover. Now you recognize that you got a lot of responsibility, and half the people that you're talking to think you're out to lunch. But when you start disseminating the information as it comes out and people wake up, things will start getting dismantled, because remember, most of this stuff only lives because the people believe in it. So both the financial platforms, both the genealogical platforms, the political platforms, and the economic platforms are in a state of flux and change as we speak. So Canada comes under the Queen, controlled by the Circle Church and Chancery, which you will know here as the Bar Association. The U.S. corporation, which went bankrupt again, keep in mind, Canada, the corporation of Canada is also bankrupt. So keep that in mind too. So this is another reason why they're doing all of this pokey wokey stuff to the people to keep the people distracted, because they don't want the people to figure out that as far as the U.S. corporation operatives of the Chancery is concerned, they robbed all the people's funds with the hedge funds. They robbed all the people's funds with the retirement funds. And this is why they're constantly printing more fiat and giving people what they call stimulus checks. These stimulus checks are to divert the people from coming for their necks. Not next, N-E-X-T, N-E-C-K-S. As this stuff unravels, etc., and the people become aware, logically the people are going to start seeking remedy or seeking ways to get some kind of remedy to preserve everyday living, all their rights and liberties. All of this would be called estate, but they haven't been told about estates or estate law or trust law. All of these things which involve everything to feed their family, their inheritance, everything, their heritability, all of these areas. And so these areas must be exposed to our people so they can become more competent, because while the people are awakening under the energy of Uranus and Saturn, these people are trying to kill them off for real, because they know that it's you or them now. Because when these people figure out the priesthood and the politicians are actually one body politic, and they thought they were separate, they thought it was God, they call it church and state. God over here of the Jesusness, of the love of the Lord, and over here, the politicians. And you find out that all of them were club members and that they were all operative together, past and present, to rob you. And now that your carcass is pretty much dry, they've taken up all the blood out of the turnip, they want to kill you. All these pharmaceuticals and everything that they've been doing to create diseases, 90% of all diseases is not happening in nature. They were created in a lab. That's the truth. As these people figure this out, some of them are slow, but it'll be enough going after these people. Not only will they not be able to walk the street, they'll not be able to walk the water like they've been telling the people. So look at that as the politics. And that's not opinion, that's fact, and that's ongoing. However, the sooner the people start rejecting them, the sooner the people will be liberated. So most of your remedy will come from you rejecting them, not accepting them, rejecting them.
So that's kind of that answers the question I was getting ready to share from Wayne Bay, which is how we stop these corporate ward states, or how, well, I guess they mean get them to release us from their hands.
Let's go back to the same principle. Let's go back to the principle. You have in personam jurisdiction, you have subject matter jurisdiction, you have territorial jurisdiction. The principle of rejection would involve, when you're talking metaphorically from the Bible, it would say things like, Satan has no power except what you give him. Politically, that transfers into that the corporate state, the dead, that the corporation corpse, the dead or the bleeder of the dead, the feeders have no jurisdictional powers except that we keep feeding them. So the great way of bringing remedy to getting out of the clutches of Rome is rejection of Rome. And so another thing why it's important for us to go across many of these aspects is so that the people will have some insight into what has been against them. One of the things that you recognize by the people not being aware how things operate, they didn't know that these people who have been taxing them is not government. They didn't know the distinction between a republic platform that is the legitimate platform for the trade operations at the Maghreb and the demon platform, which is called the democracy, set up by the Ku Klux Klan, etc. They didn't know that this is a political jurisdiction of fakery and fraud. They didn't know that these were actually the enemies in the gate. So you have generations of people being trained, paying taxes to a criminal organization of circle, church, and chancery members that they didn't even know exist. All they knew there was, oh, I'm gonna get a lawyer and an attorney. They didn't know that they were the Sadducees and the Pharisees that are talked about in the Bible. Those who've been governing you. And this is again why these so-called religious metaphors must be converted into the civic activities that have manifest on the planet. This is why we're taking a metaphysical analysis of chapter 1. That's why I've always every once in a while introduce that instead of metaphysical, metaphysics, because the people keep on thinking that Quran is not a metaphysical book. It absolutely is. They keep on looking at it like it's another religious sect. I understand that because of the training, but those who have eyes see beyond that. I just happen to see beyond that, and I'm just sharing it with you. That's all.
Another question.
And keep in mind, metaphysical those hermetic principles doesn't leave anyone out. It does not recognize, position. I'm Muslim. I'm Christian. I'm Jew. That divine law don't recognize none of that. To be honest with you, really doesn't. It's sort of like arguing. I went out in the sun today, and I saw some clouds come up, and it was going to rain. But because I'm Baptist, I don't need an umbrella. Well, it's fine. You get soggy like everybody else. Get over it. And the sooner we begin to come down to earth and recognize that we are all family, ultimately, and that we've been pretty much played and pit against each other by the priesthood, and start learning to love instead of hate, start doing unto others as you would have them do unto yourselves, you'd be surprised how quick most of the stuff will come right. Not overnight, next minute.
For more questions. Question. What about the Ba? Talking like the Ka and the Ba? I wonder.
The body and the creation of the body and the soul. Well, isn't that the chapter 1? Again, go to chapter 1, read it again. That's another reason I shared it. But it is to remove the mystery from all of these different perspectives of how we've been looking at what we've called philosophy and religion, and find that it has one source. It's just told in different language story forms, and we start thinking that we're different.
Ava says, and you were mentioning Uranus, said where Uranus is in the birth chart shows massive, unpredictable events.
Isn't that Uranus and Saturn at work? As a matter of fact, go look at real quick. Go look at the operations of Uranus right now, and then share something with us. Send back something.
Do what?
and you'll see what I'm talking about.
What did you say?
Go look a quick cosmological look at operations of Uranus right now.
Me?
No, the question from the questioner.
Oh, they were actually making a comment. They weren't asking.
You know, while you're answering other questions, that would, because it'll tell a lot.
Is there?
While you're doing, let me run real quick. I'll be right back. Entertain them with a question.
Okay, y'all. Grand Sheik has left us for a moment. Let me see. I can't entertain you with a question. Let me see if your questions. As I'm Direct Sun, we're in the age of Aquarius. How do we get that book? I just want to take a little commercial. Ask you all to go over when this broadcast is over and subscribe to my new channel on YouTube. Dr. G is official. We want to go live. We need 1,000 subscribers in order to do the lives over there. I'm just not the pre-production broadcast person, so we'll do live videos, but I need you all. If you're not subscribed at Dr. G is official, please do so, and tell somebody else too, because you want to see what's going to come up on that channel. Really appreciate you all doing that. And our Grand Sheik has returned, but
water. It's still hot.
You know, y'all, he could have asked me to go get him some water, but I guess he wanted to stretch his legs. So here we are. Let me see if there are any comments. It's hot up here, y'all. Let me see. Yeah. The link for the channel is so long. That's why if you just do a search, go to YouTube and look and put in, as you see there, Dr. DRGISOFFICAL. Dr. G is official. You'll find the channel. Subscribe if you hadn't. Very many thanks and gratitude to those of you who have already done so. Over 600, and to me that's like amazing since there's no content there. But we will be going live as soon as I get to that 1,000. We're going till temperature. You're right. I do need water. I'm dehydrated. I think I'm dehydrated.
Get the other bottle. Sip it.
Okay. Water.
I don't know about y'all, but it's warm up here.
Hot. Oh, it's kind of hot. Thank you so much, Jakari Vicaro. Thank you for subscribing. So just like he did, you can only need like 400, less than 400 of you. It's 800 plus on the chat. I know that all of you have not subscribed over there. Even if you're not going to come over there and listen, subscribe so I can start going live for the ones that will. So we need like 3 something, I believe. But appreciate you. So, hello, Thomas Day from Germany. I'm going to put the banner up right now. If you want to get the flash drive, it's scrolling across the bottom right now. Text USB to that number, and you will be sent the instructions for ordering. And you're going to have to supply a little information so we can get the shipping costs for Germany. Thank you very much. All right, let me see where we are. Thank you for all the subscribers. All right, it's 108. You think we're hot? It's 118 degrees in Arizona.
Oh wow! We thought we were catching it. You got a lot of vitamin D out there.
Oh my, 118. Texas, they said definitely hot in Texas. What is the MATD? What is the MATD? That's not Chief Nine Feathers, so I don't know what it stands for. MATD, where they do the travel. What is it? The travel card. You have to send when you send an email to them, ask them to explain who they are. Hajibi Jahadi, they can tell you. I can't. They're just an advertiser. Is a hater. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah. We don't do that here. Let me see. We try. Okay, let's see. Investigate. Trying to get some. Oh, here's okay. Michael, Mikkel Wesley Bay. I mean Wesley Lawrence, Tunica L. Bay. Operation Uranus was the code name of the Soviet Red Army 19 to 23 November 1942 strategic operation on the eastern front of the World War II, which led to the encirclement of the German Sixth Army, the Third, whatever that means, the Third.
Yeah, even when they do military operations, a lot of times, because remember, the culture on the planet is cosmology. So even when you see them use them, then look at the energy of, you look at the energy of Uranus, what it does.
Mm-hmm.
But particularly from a geographical analysis, some of you, who are presenting some of those questions, look at the operative energy of Uranus at this time, and you'll understand why over the last 20 years or so, I've been emphasizing it, not neglecting the other angles of the charts, not at all.
I'm trying to think of the start. I mean, of the planet that the sister called me, that's an astrologer, the elder sister, and explained to me about the star that's doing some stuff. I mean, it's planet, not a star. That is it. That they don't talk about. And if she's on the live, please. She knows who she is.
Well, she can share some.
I don't know if she's on the live because I don't know what whether she watches the live on you when we're on live.
This is one.
But I'm saying that she was saying that this is so significant because what it's doing. And that's what one of the things that they've done very well is to keep us from studying astrology.
This is why they've been promoting. This is what the priest jobs have been, particularly in targeted neighborhoods. People often don't recognize why is it and how is it that in your poorest neighborhoods, in the poorest of poor neighborhoods, they can afford to have a church on every other corner and stay open for all these decades that have been, because the people don't know that most of them are military operations. They're being funded not just by the people who are naive to the operations, but militarily, because it's a control mechanism. It is dumb diversus. People look at the owners of the U.S. corporations spending millions of notes for bombs, and don't think that they would send millions of notes for bombs for mind control in the communities of targeted communities. And so they'd be thinking that the Lord in heaven is funding all of these corner institutions where you have the bar across the liquor store across the street and the church on the other corner. That just happens to be locale circumstances. It's not locale circumstances. It's political design. And our people don't get it. If our people just traveled in across the country in other neighborhoods of other nationalities, you will never see that pattern. Never. It would not even be allowed. But our people don't pay attention to that. They're busy trying to survive. And they start thinking that that's what they have been calling, quote unquote, black culture. It is, but they don't know that that's a pejorative paradigm. That's not a pedigree bloodline. It's a political paradigm.
This is, I pulled that up.
We'll share.
Is this yours or is this somebody? Did you just do the intro to it? A brief history. See, now if I read from this, then everybody's going to want it. We don't have that. I like this. The fact that it talks about the fact that your life unfolds just as the sun unfolds in its cycle. There's so much, the patterns, the patterns go, what do you call them, from a standpoint of the microcosm to the macrocosm,
Yes,
or the other way.
the law of correspondence, as above, so below.
Absolutely.
So when you're looking at the metaphors of writing, you'll recognize, like say for instance, if people are teaching children, how do you keep the children's eyes on the heavens? You talk about the angels in heavens instead of the stars.
Mm-hmm.
You'll say the Lord's in heaven instead of looking at the energies of the different planets. You pray to the heavens for an effect, so they're not looking at God in for what the word means, which means to call upon, to invoke, and to pour out. So they see the ritual of the libation. They don't understand that's an action. It's not a being, but as a child, that comprehension is not altogether there. But when they become older, the preacher's supposed to tell them what that is, but they haven't. They've kept them in anthropomorphic grade and have been raping them. And my issue is the priests are the dark priests are going to get their due. They're going to reap what they've been sowing on this planet. They've been telling the people, "Oh, you're born in sin. You owe me all your sandwiches." Well, do you think you're going to enjoy all them sandwiches? You're going to find some of these sandwiches got crazy glue on them.
I just want to bring up something. I recently was looking at something, and they were saying that they have disarmed, if you will, the moon. That the moon is not a natural phenomena, but that the moon, it's a satellite, but that it has been used as a mental sort of to control the people. So they tell you it's the ebb and flow of the tide and so forth, but the moon itself has been utilized as a method, a way of
let's look at this,
controlling the people.
Let's look at this. We're not talking about the functional aspect of the moon. It's sort of like charging water with drowning people, and yet without it, you can't live. So let's not look at the tide operation of the moon, etc. Just like a lot of institutions, let's look at who's operating, who has that you might say a base there, and if the base is being dismantled, will the negative side still be operative? I doubt it. Just take that in consideration.
So you think we're going to see a difference in how people? I mean, it's just like if you didn't know all this time that you were being remotely controlled by something that had
like
been.
Biggie Small says, "If you don't know, now you know." Don't catch a fade now.
Here's something we were talking about from Baro Ya Aqua Waba, and pardon me if I, butchered your appellation. Does the hybrid Euro am wanting to liberate themselves from Rome, reverting their estates here on American soil, claiming to be nationals, present a conflict of interest we should deal with now or later?
No, nature's deal. See, this is now we're going back to Uranus. Your answer again is Uranus.
Thank you.
Again, just to project again, but some of the things that I might say is really to pre-answer some of your questions. Because our time is limited. But as soon as you start looking up Uranus, you'll see what I'm saying. I've answered your question.
Okay. Well, we talk about, you and I have discussed the fact that, all the stuff that we watch that they do, even though it sounds great, we don't hear them correcting the fact or interjecting the fact that putting us in our rightful place and restoring our state. But so I'm wondering if the question that's being presented is, okay, so those wishing to do that, do we have to fight them?
No, you don't. See, this is the deal. if again, I'm Uranus again, they're going to be so busy. It's like. Let me put it another way. Someone is trying to keep your pineal gland and your medulla stem from activating, and by the nature of your development, the actual nature of your development, we're higher seeing, or what they call your third eye opens up. But the third eye still has to do with 7. That must be understood too. Because let's see, 3 times 7 is 21. 2 and 1 is 3. Still third eye. So they're trying to slow you down by blocking out the sun, aren't they? Even doing crisscross patterns now, trying to block out the sun. Let's see, since they raised so much hell here, or dug so much hell tunnels here, see if they can beat the sun. Oh, with Uranus also on their keisters. So if somebody's, is someone who's busy stealing from you and killing you on the streets and doing different things, and every time they lift up their left hand, lightning bolt hits them in the left cheek. How long do you think they're going to keep doing that? They're trying to block the sun to slow your brain down and to keep you in the lower dimension. And the sun, we've dragged behind the sun into a thinner atmosphere, and the sun is resting and getting ready to shoot out a large charge. Meanwhile, we're out of the Futon belt, which you have less resistance, and so the sun's going to be whiter and hotter even while sleeping. Let me ask how many of you Asiatics need suntan lotion? Oh, the Ka and the Ba. How about Ka-Ba and the cube? Because it also means cube, not just the spirit and the body. And the position that they said there's Mecca in with the cube there, with the female cube covered up and stuff like that. That's the estimated place. That ain't really the place. It's not an insult. So some things that people thought they had covered, they ain't got covered. So it's sort of like this. The hunters being hunted and the robbers being robbed. Answer your own question. It's kind of hard for somebody breaking in your house when their house is being torn down. Don't mean they can't do some damage, but it's not going to be too much fun for them to continue this charade. Again, you watch Uranus.
Here's a question from KML. Yeah. Peace, Dr. G, Grand Sheik. Dr. G, is there any guess, to teach a bit of the horoscope, explain the planets and movement? I mean, we certainly can get it, but I'm sitting here with this in front of me, which, with the.
Well, share some.
Well, interesting thing about this, this talks about the fact that the zodiac is broken up into 3 major areas: houses, planets, sun signs. The planets move through the 12 houses, giving off certain energies, which takes you back to the statement that the sun said, "In my Father's house." Remember, there are many mansions.
Yeah, many mansions.
Which he was
the
talking.
Zodiac was also referred to in our culture, metaphorically, as the Great Mansion.
Right. So the planets move through 12 houses, give off certain energies. The 12 signs move through those same houses, and they channel the energy of the planets into certain traits or characteristics. The houses that the planets and signs are in determine which areas of life are affected by their influences. The most powerful influences are from here. That number goes 7 planets, the 7 ruling powers. These 7 ruling planets are the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. The sun gives you life and determines your character. The moon determines your emotional self. Mercury determines your mind or intellectual self. Venus, your love nature. Mars, your energy or actions. Jupiter unfolds your gifts. And Saturn disciplines you. There's a lot more, and perhaps we'll have somebody on who's specifically an astrologer that can.
But you can just read
I definitely will do that on Dr. G's official. But it says, here's one more thing I'll add. While the 7 ruling planets bestow their influences upon you, your individual self or body and personality is determined by your ascendant or your rising. This is a sign that is on the horizon at the time of one's birth.
Yep.
Hence your ascendant or beginning of travel through the zodiac in the earth plane. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto are not left out. They are higher octaves of Mercury, Venus, and Mars respectively. It seems that they give you a second chance to fine-tune yourself before Jupiter bestows your gifts. Lest Saturn will make you do it all again until you get it right. Right? Pluto deals the death blow only to regenerate. So there's more.
Yeah.
There's more, but we're not going to stay there.
And see, so the anthropomorphic is where you would give these energies personalities and powers, but that was for children. When you become mature and you become a man and woman, now the cosmological realities of the energies, or Ephemeraides, mathematical and energy output, and Hermetic rule output and philosophy of the Gnostic ones is really the religion. There you go.
And Rashid Ansar, I just see your question, but I just answered it. You wanted to know what the 7 planets are. You got them. Just gave them to you. So,
and again, that's the culture. So when they say you keep the Sabbath, it's dealing with the culture, not just a knowledge of the 7 days. It's knowledge of the 7 planets and their energy output on the planet. This is why you even have your symbols of the 7 candlesticks, like in the book of Revelation. I heard one speak with a voice of many waters, and he stand among 7 golden candlesticks. You need to understand those candlesticks are presented as representative of those particular spheres or planets in this particular solar system that is part of the rulership, the energy output from the heavens. And so your knowledge of that, or the knowledge of what Jesus really taught, this is again why the priesthood would never give the Moabite background of the one that they called Jesus, because his grandmother Ruth, the Moabitess, logically was a matriarch. And if you study the Moabite culture, you'd understand what those golden candlesticks are presented symbolically of. And yet people read it all the time and don't even know what they're looking at. Or the priest never tells them that 7 golden candlesticks represent the people of the sun and moon. The people with the hair like lamb's wool. That's also called Sufi. That means it's not a Muslim sect. It means the men with the hair like lamb's wool, which is the Sabian Moors. That's all it means.
Amir Elbay says cosmology and astrology are different. Yes.
Cosmology and astrology, yes. You can say yes and no. It's an expansion of the same philosophy. Truthfully. Astrology is just an aspect of cosmology. So when you look at the Hermetic law, you're looking at cosmology. You're looking at astrology, you're looking at cosmology.
Numerology.
So cosmology is simply a study of the cosmos, study of the universe. And so when you look at astrology, you're looking at the study of the belt, or the planets and the energies coming from the universe, etc., or dealing with the universe. So they're absolutely related. But astrology, logically, is an aspect of cosmology.
Right.
And this is why, like when you see buildings, old temples, churches, mosques, and synagogues, they're laid out in an astrological format, in a cosmological format, architecturally, because it's an expression of the earth culture. That's what it really is. And you know how Dr. Nayo, this is what I keep saying. You know, if people would look and keep this stuff simple, stop making it spooky, and like, whoa, this is really different. It's all the same stuff. It's just that they, the priesthood have divided the people against each other so they can make a living off of them and keep them in what you call a mental state of dependency, pretending that they're saving them. They need to be saved. They need to be saved from the priesthood. And they need to save themselves.
Grand Sheik and Billy Carson ask if he's willing to do a show. I'm not sure what that question means. Are they're wondering if would Billy Carson come on the show? I mean, I'm sure.
Yeah, we know him. He's cool.
Yeah.
All right. If we, we'll talk to him.
Yeah. So, let me get over here and see if there's any other questions.
Because you already know Dr. G's show is hot. She gets calls from all over the place. I'm not laughing at you, Dr. G, but like, because they putting the pressure on you, everybody and their cousin's dog when they come on the show. Say a year or so more ago, people were underestimating you. And the other thing is that because basically you pretty much have taken the position of being laid back, but they ain't letting that happen, are they? Well, I already knew that was going to happen. I'm not laughing at you. It's just kind of humorous.
It's okay.
Because I'd be seeing the pressure you on. They'd be working you.
Okay. Here's a question from Jeff. Should we be concerned about rising crime rates in inner cities all across the country? Do you think it will be getting better, or will it only get worse? Thanks for your time. What?
All right. Remember that the priesthood is doing this. Most of the stuff is artificially constructed.
Right. Yes.
Most of these people are puppets being played in order to control the people's mental state and to create fear, disorder, and disruption. It's not happening. It's meaning that the crimes, for the most part, is not just there in society. It is projected like a social engineering tool, meaning it's being paid to happen for the most part.
The mind is powerful. It is, if a mind is programmed, it is so very powerful. And I just think back now, all these years we've been watching, and they've been telling us like this. They tell us,
yeah, but tell you what they've been doing.
This is television program. Watch your TV programs. Television programming. We're programming with the lie that we're telling you, and the visual that we're presenting, and we're programming you with it. And they said it so they can never go back, and we can't say you lied to us, because they'll say,
Dr. G,
we told you.
And we've done this multiple times. I think, and particularly with your voice, being a woman and caring, again, just read the philosophy page of the General Education Board, which we've been reading over and over again, coming from you, a mother, a woman. And all women look at this, and this is right back to what you're speaking on right now.
You're asking me to read that?
Yeah, because I want to hear from you, because I don't want to do it. I've done it. I get bored of hearing me.
Do we have it in here?
No, so you just open up the flash drive, just open up the study class, the General Education Board, and read the philosophy. Right on your computer. You've been giving it to people.
I'm looking at this. Excuse me, y'all. Making me open up something.
And keep in mind, and Dr. G, how some parts of these things and the dynamics that are taking place today with the socialization engineering is that redundantly we've given the people this information for years. And some of the stuff is being answered for people that are just awakening, but most of you are awake. This is old stuff to you. However, it becomes useful to sometimes remind us what we overlook because we get busy living, and forget that we have the answers to many things, etc. But again, for many others who are out there, that much of what we're doing is to slay their naivety and slay the naivety that has been promoted to the injury of people. Because many people aren't aware, on the surface of their naivety, and that not only is their naivety designed and has been designed for them, and their docility designed for them for generations, not just with the current generations that are being subject to the mind control platforms of the Circle Church and Chancery, known as the General Education Board. And of course, the animal husbandry operations that are rooted within the General Education Board, set forth for human mind control systems. So people, they are aware of the psychic attacks, etc., but not necessarily aware that they are constant and by design. And so they'll look at, say, TV and the different choices that producers may make of stories and movies, etc., and not recognize or not immediately recognize that all of this stuff was given a platform to be dispensed, starting with the General Education Board.
Looking for the philosophy.
So look at, so just scroll on down philosophy page.
Okay, here. Founders. Okay. In our dreams we have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now qualifies for the people who are listening. So
okay, this is the philosophy from the founders of the General Education Board, John D. Rockefeller and Frederick T. Gates, which was published in 1902. And this is what they said. In our dreams, we have limitless resources, and the people yield themselves with perfect docility to our molding hands. The present education conventions fade from their minds, and unhampered by tradition, we work our own goodwill upon a grateful and responsive rural folk. We shall not try to make these people or any of their children into philosophers or men of learning or men of science. We have not to raise up from among them all